All right, we've got lots of UFO stuff to talk about today, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, according to metro.co.uk, the government has been making plans for finding aliens. Of course, the British government. The government is officially gearing up for the discovery of aliens, a move described as long overdue by UK's leading UFO expert. I assume that's Nick Pope. A FOIA request has revealed the Department for Science, Innovation and Technology is currently researching how it will react to the so-called Black Swan event that is discovering ET life, including announcing the find to the public. A Black Swan event is an unpredictable event that has wide-ranging consequences, but in hindsight appears to have been inevitable. So is that like a catastrophic disclosure? Well, instead of reading the full article, I'll go to Chris Sharp's thoughts on it. New UK government research paper and recommendations on how to act when faced with a Black Swan event such as ET life has been delayed. Research is still being conducted and the GE played a major role in the delay. I assume he means general election is GE, so it makes sense that the elections would play a major factor in all of this. But he says, as of now, there is no timeline for completion. So yeah, interesting that the government is researching that, and interesting that it was delayed because of the elections. Meanwhile, this is really cool, guys. This is said to be a photo from Dorothy Izatt's collection. If you don't know Dorothy Izatt, I highly recommend checking out the documentary Capturing the Light, wherever you can find it. A brilliant documentary about a woman who had probably the most comprehensive UFO footage that she collected herself of anyone of all time. I mean, she had so much contact and she filmed so much of it, just volumes and volumes and volumes of UFO contact. Well, from Jordan Crowder, he says, let's talk about this image. Dorothy Izatt took this shot on an 8mm film camera. If you don't know, she's known as one of the most credible contactees ever, has more film footage of UFOs than anyone in the world, and has been studied extensively by the alphabet agencies. This picture in particular, according to researchers, used to be blurrier, and Dorothy, who had telepathic communication with the others, said this photo would become more clear over time. And apparently it's getting clearer, and you can see this spectral image of a woman, maybe in flowing robes, and what looks like children behind her, and this light streaming, and some other figures here that may be more alien, or maybe they're more kids. It's hard to tell. There's blue light over here and pink or violet light over here. A fascinating image. Joe Murgia has asked for a link to where the family has posted this, and I've backed him up on that. I want to know if this is real, if this is true. But if this is true, then we can get, samples of what this picture used to be like and compare it to what it looks like now. If her pictures are getting clearer over time of these contacts, man, wouldn't that be amazing? And contact experiences are weird. Tom DeLonge was saying the UFO phenomenon is more complex than little green men and flying saucers. The occult is involved. And of course, he gives us a picture of Lim, Aleister Crowley's contact. Now, occult is probably the wrong way to think about this. For sure, there are societies that have developed modalities of contact and working with energy that may be more negative. And we might think of them as actually occult, in the way that we think of it. But there are also people that have developed positive modalities for interacting with the phenomenon, whether it's, just strictly alien phenomenon, or whether it's more, crazy weird stuff like Lim, or potentially, Dorothy Izatt, and so many others. Why are some people attracted to the dark modalities and not the light? I don't know. I used to do ghost hunting, and one of my ghost hunting buddies wanted to summon a demon. He really wanted to summon a demon. He was fascinated by exorcisms in demons and wanted to summon one. Now, I, don't have a religious framework. I don't think of them as demons in a Christian way, but there do seem to be negative entities. But there's also, to use a religious term, angelic entities as well, beings of light. To be more scientific or whatever, maybe beings of a higher vibration or a higher dimension that are more positively inclined to humanity. So why wouldn't you want to interact with one of them as opposed to the negative ones? But people do sometimes want to interact with the negative entities, but that is not recommended from Cosmic Road. All of my contacts, except one, have been very positive, and I recommend those experiences. I don't recommend the one negative experience I had that came from ghost hunting that I sought out, so I have nobody left to blame but myself. Meanwhile, Neuralink's next step is to make blind people see.
Even if someone has never had vision ever, like they were born blind, we believe we can still restore vision. Because the visual part of the visual part of the cortex is still there. Even if they've never seen before, we're confident that they could see.
That's amazing. So, as you know, I have my qualms about implants, but that really is an amazing ability or possibility that they can make blind people see. So, go Elon. Meanwhile, did you know that AARO's budget is classified? AARO's budget is classified.
However, AARO's budget remains classified, prohibiting meaningful oversight from Congress.
Yeah, it's classified and preventing meaningful oversight from Congress. When will Congress people stand up to AARO, denounce AARO for the obvious racket they are, and demand oversight of this Blue Book 2.0 that is coloring and preventing UFO disclosure? Meanwhile, a few days ago, I shared part of Michael Masters' experience with the beings that were trying to get him out of this burnout that he was in. He was like, I'm just going to give all this UFO stuff up. And then some human-looking beings drew him aside and communicated with him telepathically and basically said, hey, buck up and stay in the game. But they also went on further than that, and he had a remarkable download experience. Here he is talking about what happened.
And it wasn't them talking to me. They were being used as like a vessel of sorts. What I've come to understand is a form of trance mediumship. But they were brought to this place. They brought me up to this place and then had an intervention of sorts. They politely asked me if I would continue doing this for a while. They eventually told me they wanted to put 3 bits of information in my brain that would be important for some future events. Very politely asked me if I consented to that, explained exactly how it would happen, and then it happened exactly how they said it would. Just kind of blacked my eyes out and then force-fed all of this information in the form of sort of colorful light into my brain, and also told me I wouldn't have access to it, asked me if that was okay as well, and I agreed to that, and that's been the case. I have no idea what it is. I can't access it, don't really want to access it because I don't want to know the future, especially because I get the sense that there's something coming. A lot of people who have experiences similar to this, and since I've started talking about this recently, so many people have reached out to me and described very, very similar things that have happened to them.
Yeah, actually, that's not all that uncommon in contact experiences, receiving these downloads of information that the people receiving it, they don't even know what it's for. It's going to be unlocked supposedly at some point in the future. But people have been receiving these downloads for a long time, and I'm sure, many of them have, passed away by now. Were those, memories ever unlocked? Is it more of a spiritual thing? Maybe it's going to be unlocked, after they die or something like that. Their soul, your consciousness goes somewhere, and then they understand. Or do you think that Michael Masters is actually going to get this information unlocked within his lifetime? Quantum computer guru Deep Prasad has also talked about receiving a download of a bunch of information he didn't understand. The only word he did understand or term he understood was DNA, and that was in big bold letters. So that seemed to be an important part of the project. Also, do you think the beings that interacted with him were indeed aliens, or were they, maybe they were hybrids, maybe they were simply human telepaths channeling the beings themselves? Let me know what you think about that. Also, let me know what you think about this event to come might be. Heck, there might be one just around the corner. Cliff High, if you're familiar with Cliff High, that's a whole tangent I'm not going to get into right now, but really interesting guy doing interesting stuff. Well, the Future Forecasting Group did a remote viewing of one of his predictions, and they saw some event that's going to happen on July 15th. That might be UFO related. It might be some mass UFO sighting. It might have some scary implications as well. They didn't really go into all of that. So we'll see what happens on July 15th, if anything like that happens. But, most predictions are for 2026 and 2027, something big happening then as well. Here's another possible way it could go down. Science Bob McGuire talking about what he thinks might be happening.
And Chris and Jason Sands and Steve and all these other whistleblowers that are kind of coming out now are all saying that the communications say we're coming, we're getting our stuff, we're getting our prisoners, and we're killing every one of you before we leave.
Yeah, that's something that I've heard before that's been out there for a few weeks or months. At least that's when I heard it. This idea that the beings are telling the control group, hey, we're coming in. This is the date we're coming. We're getting our bodies. We're getting our tech. And if you're in our way, we're taking you out. And if you try to prevent us from taking them, we're taking you out. And so, is that something that could happen? That seems like a big, if true, statement. Certainly, I would not want to be a member of the control group at that time if that happens. So, we'll see. What are your predictions for events that might come? Personally, I don't really have any predictions. I don't play the prediction game. Who knows what is going to happen? At least that's my take, but let me know what yours is in the comments below. Meanwhile, what the heck did they find in northern Peru? Look at this Cthulhu-looking figure. Oh my God, this is crazy. This is from Ancient Aliens, Ancient Architects on YouTube, a really good channel. And this is one of their videos showing this site discovered in northern Peru where they have discovered this really weird figure depicted on this stone block or whatever that is. Look at that crazy thing. It's tridactyl, but it's also got a tridactyl face as well. And they're saying maybe it has a bird-like face, which you can kind of see with the plumage there, and more lizard-like appendages. I don't know. It's got like one big eye. What is going on with this crazy figure found in Peru? Now, I don't know if that crazy figure has anything to do with UFOs or anything like that. It could simply be a fanciful abstract drawing. But I do think that some of the rock art and petroglyphs from around the world do show that ancient peoples were interacting with the beings. Not just in Peru, but, as Wixie points out, this cave art from the Aboriginal people of Australia seems to show non-human beings. I mean, I don't think they were trying to depict people in that cave art. So let me know what you think they were trying to depict. Do you think that could have been a mundane being? Maybe an owl or something? I don't think that was an owl. Now, there are owls in Australia, but I'm not buying it. What do you think? Meanwhile, Ronnie Burnett gives us a teaser of what's to come as far as showing what he compiled going down to the Amazon to collect information on the UFOs that were, buzzing those villages in the rural parts of the Amazon. I mean, the Amazon's pretty rural anyway, but way deep in the Amazon where they were having this activity, he actually went down there, brought some equipment, and did his own investigation. And he's giving us a little sample at the Amazon UFO monitoring station. The 1.6 gigahertz signal is collected and logged at 10 seconds sampling rate. The goal is to correlate sightings in electromagnetic spectrum signature. Now, that's a really interesting signal if you're familiar with the Skinwalker Ranch investigation at all. So I'll be really fascinated to see what else Ronnie reveals about what's going on in the Amazon. Meanwhile, Lou Elizondo gives us a little update on his book. As some of you now know, my dear friend and colleague, Chris Mellon, has graciously offered to write the foreword of my book, Imminent, and has just completed his narration for the audiobook portion. I believe it is imperative the book remains authentic, and that's why I chose to also narrate the rest of the book. It is our way of keeping your experience personal and a way for us to remain connected to you all who have been vital in helping Disclosure get where it is today. We hope you enjoy it. Yeah, and the comments are great on this. People are asking him if Lou is going to narrate the audiobook portion of it, are we going to hear Lou's impressions of all the various characters associated with the story? You know, if he gives dialogue, that's going to be funny. Meanwhile, from the Hill, new Sentinel nuclear weapons program is 81% over budget, but Pentagon says it must go forward. It must go forward. Where's that money going, guys? Apparently the UFO secrets are protected by the nuclear secrets. You have to be read into the nuclear secrets before you can be read into the UFO stuff. So it's interesting that there's this new nuclear weapon program that is way over budget. You know, is that money going to something UFO related? I don't know. Food for thought. Meanwhile, from unmanned airspace, U.S. Senate committee calls for DoD CUAS strategy and task force. The U.S. Senate Armed Services Committee wants the Department of Defense to establish a counter-uncrewed aerial systems task force and develop a CUS strategy. UAS. CASC passed its version of the U.S. fiscal 2025 defense authorization bill on June 13th. The bill now heads to the Senate floor for consideration. The SASC bill requires a CUAS task force to review guidance relating to counter-drone activities. It calls for a DoD strategy to cover CUAS technologies, referring drone offenses for investigation and prosecution, and assessing resources or authorities necessary for drone incursion response. Now, obviously, I think this has to do with the drones over our U.S. Military installations. Does this have anything to do with drones, or is it all to do with drones? They do talk about prosecution, but is that a cover for actually doing something about the UFOs over those facilities? Is the CUAS task force, the Unmanned Aerial System Task Force, is that actually a euphemism for a UFO task force? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you think about it all in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. Smash the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell to be notified of future videos. Damn, that is a good jump. Look at that. If you want to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below, or by becoming a channel member, because channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out. Okay, I've got to see this one last time. All right. Oh, man, he's got some serious airtime. Look at that. Look at that. Boom. Okay, bye, guys.